Craziest stock of 2018, the craziest IPO on Wall Street. Today we're talking about TLRY. This stock is up over 400% in less than a month. Gonna break this move down, talk about what people are saying, the overall idea, and what is really going on with this crazy stock here, TLRY. If you haven't heard of it, you're probably living under a rock. Let's talk about it. So TLRY is a weed stock. It's a cannabis company. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than that, but there's things going on here. Back in July, the stock IPO'd for the first time on the NASDAQ to have a public offering and then sell shares. It's basically legitimizing the company, but nobody really saw this type of move coming. And I'm going to pull up a couple articles talking about this stock, but also just the overall idea. Now, what's funny about this stock is I told a bunch of my friends to keep an eye on it back there when it IPO'd at the $20 area. And I thought, it's probably going to pull back after the IPO. There's a good chance it's going to pull back. Normally these IPOs get a big run and then they pull back. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for that pullback, and we got a little bit of a pullback. And a couple people that I know ended up buying some at that $20 area. I ended up not getting into about $25. And I was like, okay, I'm going to see what happens here. I ended up holding for a little bit, and then this thing really took off. The weed industry, weed news, it was like weed madness. The weed bubble 2.0 or the weed bubble 1.0. I'm not sure what to call it, but really, overall, you can see this chart. There's the IPO back there in July. On the 19th, the stock IPO'd at $20. And a lot of times, we've just not seen very successful IPOs recently. We had Snapchat, Spotify, and all these different IPOs coming out recently, and most of them have just been getting murdered. Blue Apron, the food delivery company, a bunch of these companies went public. They had their IPOs, they had a little bit of a pop, and then they just got murdered ever since. But TLRY is the knight in shining armor for IPOs this year. And look at I'm just blown away, really. Blown away at this move. What's even more interesting is look at the volume. So the volume just kind of died off there. Some of these days, you got 1 million shares traded. Not bad, not bad. You got 1 million shares traded basically the end of July, you had August, and then look at the ramp up here. This is when all the news started coming out. This is when all the stuff really started to surface, and it was like, oh my gosh, weed stocks are going to the moon. Basically, the end of August, the beginning of September, everybody thought that weed companies were going to the moon, and this was the next big bubble thing that was happening. What's funny here is actually had an analyst back in July coming out saying that he thought that the initial offering of $14 to $16 was overpriced for this company, saying that they would be trading over 100 times revenue, which is huge. Other companies like Netflix are trading at about a 13 times revenue. So now this company is at over $100. So I would love to see what this analyst thinks now. I would really love to see his follow-up article after talking about this. Talks about what does it take to support the current valuation. And now he's talking about when the stock was back at $20 for the IPO. He talked about how there's $53 million of the Tilray IPO proceeds are going to be used to invest in production. Even assuming return on capital over 100%, that supports maybe 2% of the current valuation. Revenue would have to rise by a factor of 10 times for a lower margin manufacturing business to still be valued at a whopping 10 times revenue. Sales are growing nicely, but even at the 2017's growth rate of 62%, it takes many years for TLRY to grow into the current valuation. So I want to know what this guy has to say now that the stock is over $100. And the funny thing is, I keep getting text messages from my friends and stuff, and they're like, man, I should have bought that weed stock. I should have bought that weed stock. Or they're like, hey, should I buy that weed stock now? I'm like, no, do not buy this stock right now. Because what's happening? Look at this daily chart. Let's just look at this daily chart. This is not a normal daily chart. Literally, look at these gaps. I talked about it today in the video when I traded earlier, but look at some of these gaps. I'll move my head over here. Look at these gaps in the chart. From $44, it gaps up there to $50. Normally, when a stock is healthy and it's moving and it's strong, you're going to get maybe a little tiny gap, maybe a little moves. But overall, there should be some pretty consistent bars here. And that's not what's happening on TLRY. It's just going to the moon, literally to the moon. I would really love to know what the company actually is thinking. What is the company telling people? Like, hey, you might not want to be buying, or hey, if you do own shares, you might want to be selling, because This is insane. And that's really the big question here. And I think a lot of this move now at this point, let's look at today. Like, you can see this move up above $100. I think a lot of this, what's happening is you're getting bears who are coming out and basically, you know, saying, hey, TLRY is grossly overvalued. The stock is going down, down, down. And then you get people who are chasing. You get people who are squeezing the bears. And you get a lot of this crazy price action up there to 105 today, pulling back down to, what was it, below $98. So it's just been all over the place. How do you trade this? How do you invest in this? Somebody asked me, like, hey, should I be buying this? Should I be going long right now? I'm like, no, don't do it. Don't do it right now. Hold on, my friends. I think there's a lot of pain to come for TLRY. The problem here is who really knows where the top is going to be. This thing could squeeze at $200. If the shorts really just want to keep hammering it down there, it's a low flow. You know, it's got 17 million shares, they're saying, public float right now. So 17 million shares out there. It's another reason the stock is moving like it's moving. But definitely, if you're, I don't know, if you're excited about buying this stock right now, I'm not sure that this is the best time to be investing. I could be wrong. Maybe the stock's going to go to $500. Who knows? You never know with the market. And just like the overall move here, nobody knew the stock would go to $100. It's really, at this point, it's just madness. Like I said, I was buying at $25, and I ended up selling for that push above 50, and I thought that I was a genius for making 100% return. I had a small size because I think I was playing it safe. I thought this stock would definitely pull back a little bit more, but you can see there up above 50. Some of my friends are still holding the stock. They bought there in the 20s, and they're still holding it, thinking it's going to go to the moon. Hey, more power to them. It's pretty awesome to see that they were able to buy the dip after the IPO, and then now they're up over 300, 400%. I had one friend who literally is like, hey man, I'm rich. I'm selling all my TLRY stock. Thanks for the tip. And I'm like, so sometimes it's better to be more of a hands-off investor, really definitely on a stock like this, TLRY. This is the kind of stock that you want to buy and you just want to forget about and you want to come back a couple months later. Somebody told me that. Somebody told me they bought this stock after the IPO and they forgot about it, and then they opened up their portfolio recently and were like, holy crap, the stock's above $100. I'm not sure how you people do that. I check my portfolio constantly. I'm not sure how I would be able to not check my portfolio for like a month or two. That would just probably create a lot of anxiety and stress for me. But hey, if you're able to buy stocks and not look at them for 3 or 4 months, and you open up your portfolio to 300 to 400% returns, that's not a bad way to trade if it works for you. Hey, if that works for you. But I'm gonna say this is definitely a rare occurrence. Not often do you see a stock like TLRY go up over 400, 500% like this, definitely after an IPO, and really when the overall company isn't justifying the move. But hey, somebody knows something we don't know. I don't know. Somebody knows. Look at it. It's still trying to push higher. The high days up there at 108, and it's bouncing back from that 98 now. We'll see what happens. TLRY, keep an eye on it. This thing could be a beautiful short if you're brave, if you're able to get shares of short, but I'm pretty sure that the borrow rate is going to be really high, and it's just not going to be worth it. Just the overall action and just what's going on here with this stock. We'll see what happens. I'm interested to see what happens the next couple of months here. If this stock does pull back, I think we're definitely due for a pullback. You can see on the overall daily chart how this thing spiked up there towards 100 and then pulled back and then started to make the move one more time for that push above 100. So we'll see if this does pull back down there again below $100. But overall, how do you price this stock at this point? Really, I think really, like I said, that at this point, this stock is just a casino. People are trying to day trade it. People are trying to short it. They're trying to buy the dip maybe. They're just playing it. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of volume. You got a decent amount of volume there, which is always good to see. A lot of volume, a lot of action. This is the Wall Street casino right now, and everybody is definitely keeping an eye on this stock for the long side and for the short side. I think the long side is getting thinner and thinner. I just can't imagine this stock going much higher, but hey, I said the same thing when it was $50. Who knows? But at this point, go out on a limb here and say that we're getting close to a top. We're getting close to a top, but definitely don't go and short this stock off of that advice because I could be totally wrong here. I'm interested to see what happens here with TLRY the next couple of months. It's always cool to see when this does happen, when it works out like this, when you get a stock that you, like, hey, this could be a good investment. I really thought, $25, $20 area would be a safe investment. on a company like this, weed stock. Hey, possible regulation coming, possible legalization. Got Canada, got a lot of stuff going on with the whole weed world right now. And I thought, $25 area was a good buy. We got to 50 and I was like, all right, this is definitely getting overpriced. And little did I know this was going even higher. Pretty crazy to see there. I'm excited to see what happens the next couple of months. Just the overall idea. Is this thing going to find a top here? Or is this short squeeze, this madness going to continue? Check back a couple months. I'll be talking about it in 3 months. I'll make a follow-up video. We'll talk about TLRY in a couple months. I'll talk to you guys later on. If you haven't already, you want to learn more about the stock market, day trading, all that fun stuff, make sure you hit the subscribe button.